So good afternoon. So that was the most epic way of picking fruits using tools. So I actually grown to like this little guy. I'll put the links on what it is and where you can get it from. But I mean it's pretty cool. Makes anyone who's vertically challenged no longer vertically challenged. My only criticism though, kind of pricey. That's really it. Besides that, this thing's a champ. So today I wanted to talk about how do you turn crappy, compact, clay, dirt into the most nutritious soil that is very, very favorable to the growing of tropical fruit trees. So unlike your typical stone fruits or deciduous fruit trees such as the fig here, okay? These guys practically thrive on neglect. These guys do not care what soil they are grown in the Central Valley. Tropical fruit trees, guavas, longans, guavas, bananas, mangoes, capulin cherry, jamun, they need a particular type of soil. Just because these guys originate from a climate, a part of the world where it receives a lot of rain, therefore acidifying the soil, so soil acidity, and because it gets a lot of rain, the soil is relatively loose. It is not at all compact. And that being the case, there's a lot of organisms and microorganisms that's making the soil alive. So that's what you've got to try to mimic if you are trying to grow these guys in the ground, and if you want success. I mean, like longan, okay? I mean, it's literally growing here and fruiting. And, admittedly, this particular tree was mostly neglected just because the fig was shading a lot of it, but it is still producing fruits for me. So if you look at around me, okay, basically every single part of my yard is covered in some form, whether it be wood chipped or just literally just pieces of branches with leaves on it. All of this will be broken down by the insects, the ants, and eventually the fungus. That in turn recycles everything back into my yard. And that is the circle of life for trees. So I'm going to take you back. My property, okay? 2006, when it was built, it was just bare dirt. No signs of life. Literally just bare dirt being shined by the sun's harsh ray. And that's typical of how the houses are built in the Central Valley. Don't know about your situation, but in the Central Valley, that's how a typical subdivision neighborhood is started. Is they bring in dirt from somewhere else, makes it higher, compact it, put a foundation on it, build the housing frame, and then the house itself. But the yard itself is left just dirt, like dirt, poor dirt, no life. So that being the case, what are you gonna do? You are gonna have to slowly rebuild your yard by the addition of organic material. In this context of organic material, we're talking things that were living at one point and now they're not. Branches, wood chips, etc. So the easiest way for you to get a hold of these organic material to cover up your yard, your dirt, is by calling up your local tree servicing company. They, for the most part, are more than happy to come and dump a truckload of wood chip in your driveway. And then your job then is to, using a wheelbarrow, bring them all back here, one barrel at a time. It's a good workout. So every single year I have to do that just because that's how quick my wood chip breaks down. If you look at it, if you come here actually, so this is the brick. This is basically ground level. There's nothing underneath me except just like dirt. And this is how tall the mulch is, the wood chip is. So every single year I've got to apply a truck full of wood chip every single year. And for us in the Central Valley, I find that the best time to mulch your property is right before winter hits. I say that just because the truck full of mulch that they are going to give you, it's usually in a state of composting, as in it gets hot. It gets really, really hot. And in the beginning of winter, allows your yard to be nice and warm. It's a win-win. I would not recommend you doing it in summer, applying wood chip in summer, that is, because there's actually a good chance that you may make your property just a bit too hot. So right before winter or even winter is like perhaps the best time to apply mulch. And just I know I've mentioned this in the past, but a tip for you. See the property of my yard, the perimeter of the fence? See how I've got it all protected by that layer of brick? Yeah, basically the whole perimeter of my fence is, I've got bricks everywhere. That serves two purposes. Number one, it allows me to gauge the depth of the wood chip. That tells me I need to apply some more, obviously, because I could see the bricks. And number two, more importantly, it allows me to protect my fence, because as the wood chip breaks down, because of the fungus is eating it, it's also going to mulch on your wooden fence. So see if you could provide a perimeter around it. So just a tip for you. So now, as you can see, in my case, in addition to wood chip, this is what I mean by organic products. Fruits, things that are living, that were living. I'm constantly applying, well, I mean, this is not intentionally, it's dropped because I can't eat them all. So it gets dropped, insects mulch on them, then worms take their turn eating them, and the nutrient on these fruits gets recycled back to the earth. So my yard is constantly recycling itself with the falling leaves. And I mean, yeah, look, this is all fallen leaves from the jamun tree. With the fallen leaves and fallen fruits that I can't eat in time. And this is what happens. This is actually the inspiration for this video. You ready? All right, so check it out, okay? It looks, I mean, what would you say? This is, you see wood chip around me, and then this spot is like black. If you come here, I'll show you what these are. You ready? This is worm castings. So I'm standing on top of the mulch, and then in this section is like straight up just nothing but worm castings. And worm castings and broken down wood chip, which translates into this section being insanely nutritious. Practically anything that's going to be planted in the ground will have no problems growing here. I mean, that may explain why the lychee is doing so well here. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I've never seen so much like black gold. I mean, worm casting is, most gardeners refer to as being black gold. This is all natural. I mean, I didn't do anything besides providing the worms with a nice home to stay in and live in, and of course, providing them food as well. This is all pruned and dropped leaves and branches. Now that said, if you come here, you might see some evidence as well. I did just last week encourage the organisms to feast on these. Look at this. Come here. This is organic fertilizer that I just put in the ground nearby each of my trees. Organisms are going to feast on these um, fertilizer. Therefore, in the next month or so, making the nutrient available to the tropicals, essentially preparing them for winter. So I'm not feeding them now. I'm feeding them in about a month when the nutrients become available due to the organisms munching on the organic fertilizer, and essentially giving these guys just enough nutrients to make it to the winter. So that's how, when you see all the trees here, that's why they're doing so well. Speaking of which, I mean, see, this is the fun thing about tropical fruit trees is you just come out to your yard, your garden, and there's like a treat or two for you. Sonam cherry. It really has that distinctive tropical taste. So if you come here, yeah, I mean, look at it. Just about everything is doing so well. Even this Subel white sapote, I have never seen it done this, but it is doing it this year. If you come here, take a look. Look, it's flowering in beginning of fall. I've never seen it done this way. In the past, it's always right around January or so, but it's happy enough where it thinks that it can support some flower, so might as well, right? Yeah. So yeah, if you look at it, so going back to mulch, okay? So mulch, in addition to it being broken down and therefore becoming food for the trees, it also serves a couple purposes. In the summertime, it protects the roots of your trees and your dirt from the sun. It keeps it nice and cool. Wintertime, it keeps it nice and warm. Opposite. And mulch is completely breathable, which is why I'm comfortable with putting basically about a foot's worth of mulch each application. And again, these guys break down so quick that I have to apply it every single year. But yeah, that's really mulch for you. So, I mean, let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough, but I mean, you if you want to ensure that your tropicals are gonna make it in summer and winter, you're gonna have to just mulch the heck out of your property, um, including, if you are able to, um, your container grown trees as well. Check it out. Actually, look, check it out. I didn't even see this. That is like the perfect mango. I've not seen a more pretty mango than this. This is how you know it is ripe. Naturally grown here, no synthetic fertilizer. And yeah, as you can see, in my case, I normally like to just leave them on the fruits, the tree, until it yellows up, as they are in the process of doing right now. But this is how you get the best tasting fruits in the Central Valley, just by growing it yourself. Yeah, sandwood containers, just apply some mulch on top of them. And over a period of time, your yard will be like this, okay? When the seeds from the trees get dropped, they will just start germinating. Loquats. I mean, I can't. I mean, I've already got a big loquat, so I've actually been plucking these out because I don't need another loquat. Actually, yeah, it's a loquat. Yep. Yeah, I've been just plucking them out just because, again, I have enough loquats. Yeah. Which leads me to the next thing, which is, like, look at it, okay? Those two seedlings were grown by chance. That's what I'm trying to replicate in my yard. Is I don't really care about the distance between the trees being planted. It's more so that the protection that's provided by one another. That's my main concern. So, I mean, you're talking maybe 6 inches between these two seedlings, mango and kaimito. And even the more mature trees, look, longan, Malay apple. You're talking maybe 2 feet a foot. But yeah, I mean, in this little section right here, this is like crazy dense, which is fine with me because it allows me to erect a temporary greenhouse right around this section of the yard when I need to. So everything seems to be happy. So yeah, just mulch is really going to be the key to the building of a great topsoil for your trees. So yeah, in addition to those great benefits, okay, the rain is also a major factor. The reason why our dirt is such high in the alkaline, I mean, it's generally around 8 if you don't do anything to your dirt. In my case, because I've been applying all these mulch throughout the many years, I've got my soil down to roughly 6.5, 7 or so, which is on the upper threshold of what these trees would like. But so far, everything seems to be doing good. And that is because of the insects and the organisms that is keeping the soil alive, and therefore slowly lowering the acidity level. So yeah, that's how you're able to get all these growing here at Tamoyas. So yeah, you've got to imagine. I mean, my yard probably has hundreds of thousands of worms. And as those worms dig through the tunnel, as they make the ways from point A to point B, thousands of them, it will naturally loosen up the soil. That's how you get great breathable soil. Just because, again, most tropical fruit trees, the feeder roots, like 98% of the feeder roots are at the top 2 feet width of soil. So yeah, so that's really it. That's that's the message here. It's just mulch, mulch, and mulch some more. So that's it. Have a good afternoon.